My childhood wasn't easy. Most of my friends succumbed in crime. You're with someone today morning, by jioni unaambiwa aliuliwa. For us, it was, you grew up knowing your parent is your responsibility. Apparently, you don't even wear bras and panties there. You just, everything, you just do the gown.
Ulikuwa unalala chini for the entire period that you're in prison?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Nudi Orao. Today we are beginning a series that we are dubbing Women Behind and Beyond Bars. And for the first episode, we will have Lorraine as our guest. Lorraine will get to share her experience. Basically, the reason why we are sharing these experiences and bringing them to you is that you get to have first-hand information about what it truly means to what it really means as a woman who's been behind and also beyond bars, because we truly believe that there is life behind bars. And as much as the society tends to always define us by our mistakes or anything that happened in the past, we are here to spread hope that there is still life even beyond bars. So today I am joined by Lorraine, who happens to be our first guest. So I will allow Lorraine to introduce herself to you all, and then we will begin the conversation from here. So, karibu, Lorraine.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Lorraine Whitney Achieng. I'm a mom. That's the first thing I'll say. I'm a mom. I'm also a GBV case manager at Stada. I'm a professional makeup artist. Yeah.
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 So that's a lot. Like, Lorraine does a lot. And you can, of course, also contact her for all those makeup services. Like, you see how she's looking, like, good. Like, so that's Lorraine's work. And everyone that will be on set, makeup will be done by Lorraine. So do hit Lorraine up. We will put the contact below. But I want to start with your story. But I always say behind every woman is a story. And women's stories are never homogeneous. You can be all mothers, but like we are at very different spaces of motherhood, and have completely, totally different experiences with motherhood. And I use that as an example because you're both mothers. And so I would like to hear who is Lorraine? Just everything that you're comfortable to share with us about your background so we get to understand you even in this moment.
Okay. Well, thank you for this space. As I said, my name is Lorraine. I was born and raised in Nairobi, Kayole to be specific. Yeah, I was born and raised in Nairobi, Kayole, in the Eastlands sides. Yeah, but my mom invested in my education really well. So I used to stay in the East sides, but I used to go to very good schools. Yeah. And my mom had me at a very young age, at 15 years. Yeah. And I am the only child. It's just me and my mom throughout. And I think that's the most background of it. I have been in different schools. In primary, I've done 10 schools in primary. In primary, done 10 schools. Then in secondary, I went to one secondary school. I went to Koru Girls. Shout out to Koru Girls. I went to Koru Girls. That's where I did my high school. I wasn't privileged to go to college or university. I just wanted to work immediately due to the circumstances in life. So immediately I was done with my high school. I did so many jobs, so many jobs. I was a receptionist. I worked at Glovo. I have taught. I've been a teacher. I have worked at restaurants. I have worked at clubs. I have done so many jobs just to make ends meet. Yeah. And I go back to my mom took me to good school. So it was so easy for me to get a job because I was very vocal and I was very good at communication. Yeah, and that's how I got most of the opportunities. I've worked at CCI. Most of the opportunities I've gotten in life, it's just because I could communicate really well. Yeah.
And that's one thing I can consign on. I was telling you earlier, I think even last year when we first met, that you're so brilliant. And you bring light to every room, and it's so evident. So I can definitely consign to the fact that you bring a lot of light. So I would get right into the conversation. So you can tell us a little bit about your experience uh, with how you got to the place where you were incarcerated and the life after. We will get through that part as well. And so I would again just throw it back to you to just take us through how you got there first, and then you can let it flow as you feel.
Okay. Given that I was born and raised in Eastlands, of course, I didn't keep the right company. And most of us, that is me and the people that I grew up with, most of us had single parents. Most of us, our parents were maybe drug addicts. Most of us, it was a lot happening in Eastlands. And you start parenting yourself at a very young age.
Yeah, so let us know about your childhood. How did it look like?
My childhood, most of it I parented myself because my mom used to travel a lot. And as I said, she had me at 15, so she was also young herself. And we kind of grew up together. And people used to say it a lot, like, you, when mamako mnakaa sisters, you know, because we grew up together. And and for her, I was more of her best friend than her daughter and her child. When she needed someone, she was like, mtoto wangu, and she used to come to me. And in that circumstance, I used to handle a lot that I was not supposed to handle too as a child. Yeah, but it also brought me a lot of intelligence in a funny aspect, and it taught me a lot at a young age. Yeah, so my childhood wasn't easy. Most of my friends succumbed in crime, and I used to see it a lot. You're with someone today morning, by jioni unaambiwa aliuliwa na mapolisi. And for us, we viewed crime at a different aspect. We didn't, you know, for outsiders, like, huyu ameiba, huyu ni mwizi. But for us, if you're told a friend of yours died due to stealing, you just like, alienda kutafuta, it is a way of life, you know, because it's something you're used to. And that was most of my childhood. And I think my biggest dream in childhood was, we call it kutoka block. Like, I just want to get out of this place. I just want to get out of this place. And some of us made it. And when one person made it, even if you didn't make it yourself, you'll feel like you've done it for us. You're like, hey, ule alitoka block.
One for the team.
You've taken one for the team, yeah. And we felt it. Yeah, and for us, it's just that nitoke block, nitoe mama yangu block. For us, it was, you grew up knowing your parent is your responsibility. You grew up knowing, like, because they tell you, like, I'm taking you to the school because when do tegemeo langu. Yeah. Yeah, so that was most of my childhood. And yeah, I end up saying I didn't have the right friends by then. I was very young, immediately after high school. And I ended up in prison because of hanging out with the wrong people. I'll start from there. And it was more of a chain of something. It was okay. I'll just do like a
That's
background.
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It was more of huyu ndiye alichukua, so leta mwenye alichukua. Anyone who was involved in that situation. So a friend of mine called me. We hadn't talked in a long while. I'm someone who has a really kind heart. Called me and told me, Lorraine Sasapwa. She had just given birth. I was pregnant by then, but for her, she had given birth. She told me, Lorraine Sasapwa, niko hapa Mama Lucy, niko na mtoi wangu ni mgonjwa, na sijalipa bill, na chali yangu amekata. Can you just come? I just need support. And I remember I was like 5 months pregnant by then, and I was staying with my boyfriend in Umoja. So I left home in slippers. I just was slippers, some sweatpants and a t-shirt. I was like, Sasa nichukue boda niende hapa Mama Lucy niangalie beste yangu. I didn't know I won't come back home. And I went to Mama Lucy and I got to the gate and there were detectives there. And they were like, wewe ndo Lorraine, kuja hapa, twende. And I was like, okay. And we go to the police station and I didn't know that was my, I didn't know, I wasn't processing like how much important freedom is. And when I got there, the girl had already cut a deal with the police officers. And then I was taken to the cell. And then I called my aunt by then, because my mom was not around by then. I called my aunt and my uncle and I told them, Mimi, nimeshikwa, 1, 2, 3. And I didn't know people go to court the next day. Yeah, so I'm there the whole night. I haven't eaten or anything. My boyfriend is also still processing this information. And I am pregnant, but we had just, me and this guy had not even dated for 5 months. So this information is still new to him. So I get arrested, I'm in the cell. And then the next morning, I'm processed for court, even before my uncle and my aunt came that day, so they were coming the next day. So in the morning, I was processed for court. And then this detective tells me, ukitaka hii maneno ishe na hii mimba yako, kubali kesi haraka haraka. And I didn't know anything. And by then, it was Corona time. So when it was virtual, so the judge called and, nini umekubali? And I'm like, yes, nimekubali. And the judge was shocked. He was like, msichana, I don't think you understand the gravity of your case.
What was the case?
I want it physical. It was, what was the case? Let me just process it. It was stupefying in order to commit a felony. Yeah, that was the case. Stupefying in order to commit a felony. And like, msichana, I want you tomorrow in my court. And then another, women in women's spaces, another lady who was a police officer called me, was like, usiwahi kubali kesi, kataa, utafungwa, kataa. And the next day I went to court and then nikakataa. And I was processed to Langata. Like literally, nilitoka kotini hivi, kwa gari to Langata. I'm like, nimeacha vitu zangu cell. And remember, I came in with a t-shirt and a sweatpant. So by the time wanataka kuniletea vitu, wanaamba, huyu alishaenda Langata, mumfuate Langata. So I get to Langata Women's Prison and apparently, you don't even wear bras and panties there. You just, everything, you just do the gown. You just do the gown. And if you have hair, you undo it. You undo it. If you have hair that is not natural, unless it's natural locks, so
that's what you do before your process to get into the prison?
Yeah. No, then you do it at the door of the prison.
Yeah.
You do it there. They search you and everything. So it was Corona time. Then I get in and I'm like, and when I talked to my uncle told me the cash bill was set at 200,000. So my uncle had just bought a car and he told me, don't worry, I'm going to process my, what is it called? My logbook. Yeah, and then by kesho utakuwa umetoka. And my aunt was like, ikishindikana, we have a title deed, utakuwa umetoka. And I thought it was a kesho thing. And this process took 5 months. And I'm inside, it's Corona time. I don't know what's going on. Na kuna kupewa simu. You can't call your people by then. And then we're in quarantine. Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
We're in quarantine, so we used to get locked in a room. And by then unatamani jua, like unatamani tu, because it's a room like this, so unatamani utoke hapa nje, uote tu jua. So we used to take turns and sit at that door. And you do your feet like this, so that the sun hits you.
It's okay. Take your time. Take your time. Take your time.
I used to do like that so that the sun hits you. So apparently, when you go to prison, you're supposed to have money in your books. You're supposed to call someone and tell someone, kuja niandikie pesa. Yeah. But I couldn't call, so I couldn't do that. And I was 5 months pregnant by then.
So you were not given access to call?
No, we were not.
How many of you were in that room?
We were sleeping, we were sleeping three in a double-decker bed. So, and it was like a dome. It was almost like 60 people. We were congested by that time. Because ilikuwa time watu wanashika ovyo ovyo, maneno ya corona, ukipatikana nje, curfew, things like that. So we were many. And when I got inside there, I used to hear cases because I thought 200K was a lot. So in my head, I'm thinking, my uncle is coming for me tomorrow. Hakuji. 1 week goes, hakuji. And we were many. So, mi sikupata space ya bed. So we used to sleep down. Used to sleep down. And in the morning, for the first 2 days, I didn't eat anything. In the morning, they bring you uji, and it's hot, and it's hot, but it's white porridge. It doesn't have sugar. We used to call those things mororo. I even have PTSD right now. Like siwezi kula kwa kitu ya chuma, because it's a kasuku like this ya chuma. So hot uji. Then at 12 or 11:59, it's lunch. So there's wanachemsha skuma, so like vijiti mbili za skuma na ugali na hiyo maji yenye wamechemsha nao skuma. Then usiku ni maragwe yenye imechemshwa na ugali, in the same thing. It looks like something that it used to feed dogs. Kama nini hivi, a bucket hivi ya chuma. So for the first 2 days, I didn't eat. And someone told me, you're pregnant. You will die. You literally have to eat. After that, I just used to want to drink your supu, like something very, very hot. I just
The
needed,
sukuma wiki
yeah,
supu.
yeah, sukuma wiki supu ama yoji. So a week passed. 2 weeks passed. My uncle is not there. I can't even communicate. We came to tulikuja kupewa simu after 3 weeks. So after 3 weeks, I called my uncle, and my uncle tells me he tried processing the logbook, but wameikwamilia na wanamuitisha pesa. And akaniambia anapeleka hiyo kesi aipoa, wamekwamilia logbook yake. Then my aunt was like, kupeleka title deed, anaambiwa alipewa watu wa land, wenye watakuja kupima hiyo land, na waweke fuel kwa gari. The land is here in Kisumu. Wakuja waipime. Sijui land surveyors or something. Wawe tu Lorin kila kitu inataka do. So itabidi nichukue loan kwa sako. Na loan kitambo iprocessiwe. We'll try this too. But acha pia tuchukue loan kwa sako. Na ita take time kuprocessiwa. And then I told them, basi kujeni mniandikie mniandikie pesa. So I stayed 5 months. My pregnancy turned into 6. My pregnancy turned into 7 months. And I have eczema. My skin was so bad. So I used to, like, there's kama sina hiyo treatment. I used to scratch myself, literally. Hadi na turn red, hadi natoka ngozi. Hadi najikuna na kichana. Because where you're sleeping, the hygiene is really bad.
Yeah.
But what gave me hope, I used to hear cases, nasikia mtu anaitishwa cash bail ya 2 million. And I'm like, man, it's just 200K.
Yeah.
So that gives me hope. I used to see also other pregnant people, wamefungwa, walikubali kesi, na judge akasema, umekubali sawa, wakafunga. And I'm like, at least the judge gave me a second chance. Yeah. And when I was 5 for a month, the second month, I met someone in prison. A very nice lady. She was Muslim. And I just think she was God sent or something. She just loved my pregnancy out of nowhere. And for her, alikuwa ameshikia kesi kubwa, but she had money in her books. Because pesa umeshikwa now, let's say if you were arrested and maybe you had 30K cash, hiyo ndo inaandikwa kwa kitabu. And prison, they don't sell things the way they sell things here. For example, if bread is 65 bob here, uko ni 70 ama 75. Unaona? A piece of chicken is 300 shillings.
They sell chicken?
Yeah, they do. But you have to have money to buy it. You can eat any diet you want, but lazima uko na pesa kwa vitabu for you to buy it. But if you're to eat 300 every day for 10 days, that's 3K. That's expensive life, yeah. So for her, she really, after a month, is just like, Lorraine, just order what you want.
So even in prison, there's still inequalities.
Yeah, there is. There is. And there's sections. There's like, unapata watu wako na a certain case wanalala pale, watu wako na pesa kwa vitabu wanalala pale, this, that. It's there. And I had lost hope. I was just like, mi ndaza hapa. When I got at 7 months, nilishiftiwa cell, but bado nilikuwa nalala chini. So because ya kukaa,
Ulikuwa unalala chini for the entire period that you're in prison?
yeah, beds zilikuwa zimejaa.
Define chini, like just like on the floor?
Mattress, chini.
Oh yeah, there's a mattress on the floor.
Chini. There's a mattress on the floor. Mattress, chini. But you know, with pregnancy, you're supposed to walk or something. So at 7 months, I was in prison and I had 3 false labor instances. 3. And I was like, God, please don't let me give birth in prison. Don't let me birth my son here. Don't let me birth my son here. But, ukisikia, oh yeah, I used to go to court for mentioning. And sometimes you go to court, and since it's corona, uko tu, kesi ya nani, unaitwa. The judge doesn't talk. This says, mentioning next month, unarudi ndani. And then you go back and you're counting your fingers. You're like, 18th itafika lini? Because that's the only time you can see the sun. That's the only time you can actually wear your own clothes. Jo wendi koti na nguo zingine. That's the only time you can ride in a car and see outside and see people wakienda job, ukiwa ndani ya gari, and you're just like,
The cost of freedom.
it's just like you see people going to job in the morning and you're just like, I wish this was me. And you think about, and I was just telling God, like, even if I go back and stay in a single room, and strungi, I just want to be able to open the door and just go outside. And if I get out today, I'll bask the sun the whole day. And I didn't know when I was getting out. I didn't know. Because the officers who had my uncle's logbook, when he went to IPOA the first time, it took a lot of time. So by the time anarudishiwa logbook yake, hata tungeitumia, we just had to wait for the SACCO to process the loan. It's a loan of 200K. We just had to wait for the SACCO to process that. So by the time I was getting out, I was 8.5 months. And I remember by then, when my aunt paid it, she asked my boyfriend and my best friend to come pick me up because she was not around to come get me. Because when you process the payment, there's a release form yenye unapewa uende.
Okay.
Yeah, uende uchukue.
So before we get to that point, what's a typical day in prison?
There's something they call hesabu in prison. Hesabu is counting people, and it's very important. I don't know why, but it's very important. They keep on counting people. They can do it 7 times in a day. And when they say hesabu, it doesn't matter if you're showering, ama unafanya nini, unaenda unainama, uhesabu. Kama ni kuoga, utaacha hiyo kuoga hapo.
What do you mean kuinama? You bend.
You bend, they come and count you like you squat. And for me, that was the most disgrading part because they don't even care if you're pregnant. You squat. You're like, mkubwa amekuja hesabu. Mali uko. Wanahesabu. After that, you can go ahead. And they do it like 7 times. Hesabu. You just hear hesabu. Ivo. Count. They count 7 times in a day. And then the meals, because I was a Rumandi, for the people who are like arrested, I think they had other curricular activities, but me I was a Rumandi. So it was hesabu, food, kulala. And the doors used to be locked by 5:30. Mnalala 5:30. 5:30 mshakula sapa, mnaingia ndani mnalala. Na mnafungiwa ndani. You see how they do cows like this? And then, yeah. Mwingia ndani mlale, and they lock. And then you wake up at 6. So literally, lunch, sapa, dinner, kulala, hesabu. That's all. You can go mad. First 4 months. That's all. No kungoja siku yako ya court. And people will celebrate you when you're going to court. And people will pray. And people will pray like, you can court you sirudi this time. And
Sisterhood.
you will find it. And when people go to court and one person doesn't come back, people are so happy. And people write numbers when you go to court and they tell you. And they give you numbers. And like, pigia sister yangu, pigia mama yangu, mambo hivi na hivi na hivi. So you go like with 10 numbers. So you give it, baby, may I give it to my uncle, and I've written a number. Upige mama ya huyu, mambo hivi na hivi upige, because it was Corona time. And that's the only way you could communicate. So when people go to court, you just give out numbers of your people. Yeah.
And the
So
food, it's the same food every day.
Same, every day.
It's the skuma and ugali and uji ya
maragwe.
white. Oh,
Yeah,
there's maragwe.
and maragwe. And with time, you just get used to it. With time, you just eat it. Yeah.
Okay. So your auntie processes the bail, and you were told like that's the day.
I wasn't even told. I remember I had taken dinner. You don't unaitwa tu awambiwi. I had taken dinner and there was that Muslim friend of mine. And then someone was given the paper, like, Lori Nwiti, enda home. And people celebrated because me, I wasn't even expecting. It was just like, me at
When you first heard those words, what ran into your mind?
I just wanted to bask the sun. That's what I wanted, like water, jua tu. I didn't even care about anything else. I just wanted to like, nitoke tu enjoy. Niote jua. That was the only thing ringing in my head the whole time. I was like, nataka tu kuota jua. I had even forgotten about my pregnancy cravings. Like, nataka tu kuota jua. Yeah.
And so what happened on that day?
Yeah, my best friend and my boyfriend picked me up. Nilienda, okay, the reason my boyfriend had to come my best friend because he's not a Kenyan national, so they needed my best friend's ID. Yeah, so they picked me up and they couldn't even recognize me because I was so dark, I had rashes all over. I had even shaved my hair. I was like, and I was so heavily pregnant because I had gone in at 5. I was at 8.5. Now I'm very heavily pregnant. Yeah, and when I saw them, I was just like, just take me home. Yeah, just take me home. And I remember we used to hold prayers where I used to sleep. When you go to prison, you become prayerful. You do. You do. You become very prayerful. And we used to hold prayers. And I remember there's a lady who used to keep on telling me, Lorina utaza hapa ndani. Yeah, hautaza hapa ndani, utaza nje. We were just each other's hope.
Yeah.
And sometimes you hear some cases. Some cases were very, very tiny cases. May had a cash bill of 200K. Someone has a cash bill of 2 million. Someone has a cash bill of 10K. Unapata mtu amekaa ndani 1 year because of 10K. 10K. Because one, there's no one to process it for her. And two, hakuna mtu wa kumtafutia huko nje.
Yeah.
So amekaa ndani juu ya cash bill ya 10K. And then someone labda, it's something very little. It's a very tiny case. But just because of venye iliandikwa ama mastaka zenye alikubali.
Ama kukubali tu.
Ama kukubali tu. Yeah, kukubali tu. They don't know what wanakubali. Wamefungwa. Yeah. There were so many instances yenye hata miscommunication too. Yeah. And I learned that sometimes very little things can land you to prison. Yeah. And so many women were just like, because when you get arrested, you don't have time to tell people so niangalilie mtoto. But mtu alishikwa tu kwa barabara na anachanga watoto wake peke yao kwa nyumba. Alishikwa na kanjo, ameenda kutafuta. Akaenda akakubali kesi ya ujinga, akapewa 2 years. Na hata na ni corona time na hajapiga simu. So ako ndani 1 week na ameacha watoto kwa nyumba na ajuangi hata watoto wake walienda wapi ama walichukuliwa na nani. So there were such cases and I just used to thank God. I'm like, wangu na nimebeba kwa tumbo.
Yeah. So you live at 8 months and a half.
Yeah, 8.5.
Then that means almost in a month or so, like in less or more than a month, you're supposed to deliver.
I'm supposed to deliver.
So the delivery happens. But then you still have to attend court.
I still have to.
So what happened around that time between your delivery, court? Yeah.
So I deliver. I'm still supposed to attend court. Of course, me and the father of my son, we are not in good terms because when I was arrested and I come out and I find a lot has changed. Yeah. So we're not in good terms. So I'm supposed to find a job. I'm supposed to move out of his place. And in between that, I miss one court session. I literally forget and I miss one court session. And I remember the next day. And then I ask the person we are casing with, Nilisa ukuja koti time, when is the next date? And he tells me. And I attend the next court. And the judge tells me, ulikuwa wapi? And I tell him, I'm sorry, Your Honor, nilikuwa nimesahau. And then he just tells me, ati ulikuwa umesahau? Chukueni huyo mrudishe ndani.
How old is your baby?
2 months. And I'm back again. He's 2 months by then. And I'm back again. And it was so joking. I was like, what do you mean mumrudishe ndani? And I'm back again. And they give me a month. They give me like the next date got a month.
So the entire process again?
Yeah, the entire process again.
You have a 2-month-old, so you go with him or he's brought to you?
Akabaki. He remained with his dad for a month. For a month, akabaki na babake. That's how my son actually stopped breastfeeding. Because I was breastfeeding by then. They even had to give me pills so that to stop the milk. I go back again. And I stay for a month, and I'm like, I'm a very outspoken person. I'll just go and tell this judge sorry. And then I come back to court again after a month, and I apologize, and I explain, and I tell him I have my son. And he's like, okay, sawa. Release her.
So you go back to prison. Now, this time, you have a baby, but you don't have the baby. The baby is at home. And you're breastfeeding, and of course, the pain that comes with milk and it not being expressed. Is there anything that is different this time round?
No. Because literally, nilikuwa nakamua maziwa. Because remember, you don't do a brand, you don't do a pant, you just do one gown, like inakaa hivi. So if it gets wet with maziwa, that's on you. So by the time unaprocessiwa hizi dawa za kukukaushia maziwa, nishakamua hata maziwa for 3 days. And every day I'm just thinking, the more nakamua maziwa, I'm just thinking about my son. Because he's 2 months. And they told me there's an option of niletewe, nikae huko ndani. And in my head, I'm thinking, I don't even want my son to see the walls of this place. I'd rather he stays out there with my family and his dad than he comes inside here. Nothing has changed. It's not crowded as such, but
it's the same.
It's just the same.
The same thing, Alva.
Same thing. Same thing. Nothing has changed. Nothing has gotten better. But anytime you go in there and you don't have hope, you hear people's story. and you get a lot of hope. Like, you go in there hopeless, but unasikia stories watu wengine unasema tu, by the way, it's not that bad.
So one thing is very key in this story, the entirety of it, is the sisterhood that like is behind bars, like the way women come through for each other, which ideally we are constantly told that women are each other's enemy, something that I really truly never subscribe to because it's not true. Because one, most of the people that have really come through for me have been women, and it's nice to hear that even behind bars, women still pull through for each other, pray for each other. And when you mention that they are happy when anyone that they're with leaves the jail behind and moves on, that is really a powerful part. But you also mentioned the aspects of motherhood and pregnancy in prison. Prison is already bad enough. And you mentioned that there are women who have children behind bars. What's their sort of like routine in there? Is there something different? And also pregnancy in prison. Are you given the supplements that you need to be given? What happens? Like, is there something different about how they treat mothers and pregnant ladies in prison?
You do get the supplements.
Okay.
As a pregnant lady, you get the supplements that you need because they're provided by the government. And then for the kids, you can choose to stay with your child in prison, but there's a section for kids and they go to school. You don't stay with them physically, but they get to a certain age and they are either transferred to a children's home or a relative can come pick them. I think when they get to 5, I'm not so sure, I think 5 or 6 years. So you can choose someone who comes and pick your kid ama wapelekwe children's home. Because above 5 years, they can't stay there. Yeah, and for the pregnant ladies, there's labor work, and for the pregnant ladies they do not do labor work. They do not do that.
The diet is same though.
Yeah, the diet is same. But for the kids, the diet is different. But for the pregnant ladies, it's just same. Yeah, it's just same.
So we are past the 1 month, you're back in court, you have been released again. What is life like after prison? You have been out for how many years now? 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, 45 years.
So how is life after prison? What have you experienced that is different, if there is? And what would you like to tell everyone out there about anything that you'd like to communicate?
Well, the greatest lessons I've learned in life, I've learned them in prison. And there was a lot of PTSD on my end after. Immediately I got out, I used to do something. Like, even if someone triggers me, like mtu anitukane, mtu anichokoze, my head just hits assault, and I'm just, anything that happens, I'm just thinking around that. I'm like, naweza shikwa tena. There was that PTSD for me. And I think it's still there. I'm so scared. And anytime, because I had someone in prison at the time, anytime I used to go and visit this person and just nifike kwa gate, it actually took me a while before I visited this person because it was very close to me. Nifike kwa hiyo gate, I'm like, what if I go back hivi tu tena? Na niingie.
Yeah.
But most of the lessons, one, it taught me compassion. It taught me a lot of compassion. And it taught me that people are going through a lot in life. People can be out here wearing different clothes, but people are going through a lot. It also taught me that money doesn't solve everything. It doesn't.
A big one.
Money doesn't. Because there were people who had very huge cases. Cash bail hata ni 4M. Ako na 4M, but ameambiwa bond and surety of the same. And this person is trying to process properties zenye ako nazo, zenye zina amount to this 4M. But since you're processing something worth 4M, mtu anataka hongo. So wapata? still doesn't work for them. And I learned that our law system is very frustrating. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. It's not as easy as it's said. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for that. I've learned so many things from your story. So many things that I think a lot of people don't know about you, but now they know. And me too. Um, and like the strength and to be able to even share this part is remarkable. And I know a lot of people look at women that have been behind bars and they look at them a certain way, like in our society, even in the way, and you had a pretty supportive family, still do. So that really gets to help. But there are women who don't have that support system. But then I would just like you to say something to the entire society in a way that they treat people who've been behind bars and have come back to the society. Recently, there was a news article of a lady who was released, and the family did not want to. They refused to accept her back, and I wish that was an isolated case. Sadly, it's not. A lot of people find it difficult reintegrating to the same society that they came from. So I want you to just talk to everyone because every single person has someone who's been behind bars. And you mentioned a very important point that some people they're not even supposed to be behind bars. It's ignorance, it's things that they got themselves into, it's accusations, it's lies, it's everything, it's layered. And because of ignorance or not knowing that you need to be able to talk even to a legal representative, you have a right to, some people cannot access even if they know they have a right to. So there's a lot of injustice within that space, and not everyone that is behind bars deserves to be behind bars. We clear that first. But then there's also the angle of, even if you deserve to be behind bars and you have been, you mentioned a lot how women come together and they pray and there's reforms that are happening even at a personal level. If you're to talk to our society today, especially the ones that still stigmatize people who've been behind bars, what would you want to tell them?
I want to tell them to, one, they should really visit their people. If someone is arrested, please just, it takes a day, just visit these people, because the visits are very important. This person feels like wako na mtu huku nje, because kuna watu wanamaliza hata 3 hata 4 years, no one has ever visited them, and they do have relatives. Also offer them and extend to them a level of grace, because life has changed for them. Someone who did 5 years, labda aliacha kama hapa ni kiwanja, you get out, you find buildings, unapata prices zimehigh, unapata there are new apps, there's a lot, so you just feel like you're behind. Because for me, remember, I had left a certain space and I came back na nikapata hiyo place imejengwa. And for me, it was so different. And it has just been like a few months. And I'm like, this happened while I was away, you know. And they came back and they find kids have grown, kids that tuliachwake toddlers now are teenagers. So they need some level of grace. They do. Because trust me, being in prison is punishment enough for you paying. Being in prison is already you paying for that. And I know they say it's a correctional facility and all that, but whatever is written on the walls is not the same experience behind those walls. It's not. So they do need a level of grace, and they need to be given second chances. Yeah. And if you have someone behind bars, just hold their hand. Because for me, it's the people who held my hand for me to become this version of myself. Just hold their hand and let them take the baby steps and let them figure it out slowly. Because for them, it just feels like yesterday. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You are strong, you're intelligent, and very inspirational. And I feel like your life is just beginning. And I can feel it in my gut, but I also really can see it in your eyes that there's something that is brewing on the inside. So thank you for honoring our invite and for being the very first guest in this show. You came to do my makeup and you ended up on the seat, and I don't take it for granted. For everything that this story represent, I want you to know that your life is just but taking off. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you for everyone who has been a part of this conversation. And I hope that you have been inspired in one way or the other to do something different, to change your world, to make it a better place for women, especially women who have been behind bars and who are struggling to still reintegrate back into the society. And I hope Lorraine's story inspires you to do more. She has so incredibly agreed to be the face behind this series, and you will definitely see a lot of Lorraine in these episodes. Please do reach out to us. I'll put our contacts down below. We are not only about telling stories, we are about impacting even the next generation, and we want to be in your story with you. So if you have been behind bars and is struggling, please know that we are here to offer as little support as we can to make your life better. I also want you to know that it does not end here. Life might have taken you through a journey, but it definitely does not end like this. So beyond this series, we are going to do a little bit more to be able to offer support. And so I hope that you become part of this journey with Lorraine and I, and for everyone behind the camera, that you are part of this journey and part of this conversation. So please do share, comment, like. If you'd like us to feature you or to feature anyone that you know, please let us know. If you'd want to invite us into your space for conversations and also to find a way of co-creating something around what you're already doing, we are here for partnerships. Thank you all, and until next time, bye.